Hey, Steve Riley, welcome to this episode of Great Practice, Great Life. And today I'm excited to do a couple things. First, introduce Dia Bondi. So, Dia, welcome. Welcome to
Hello,
our
everyone.
podcast.
Hi, Steve. So glad to be here.
We're thrilled to have you here because we're going to do a couple of things today. We're going to talk about a little bit of your journey. We're going to talk about your new book, and we're going to announce the fact that you are our first speaker that we're announcing officially for this year's 2023 Atticus Summit. So thanks for accepting the obligation, privilege, duty, and challenge of being a keynote speaker to the Atticus Summit. So welcome, welcome, welcome.
I'm so thrilled. And actually, I was just last week reviewing my manuscript for the book we'll talk about today and recognizing that I think I have like 4 examples, little case study stories about people who've used the methodology that I'll share with your community at the summit in the book. And they're all, those 4, well, I have like many, but 4 of them I think are ones that came directly from folks who are legal folks.
So yeah, in the legal industry, which you're not,
Yep.
You advise, but you're not part of per se.
Correct.
So let's talk just for a few minutes about who you are and about your company and what your mission is. So let's just go there.
So I am Dia Bondi Communications, and we exist in the world to help ambitious and high impact professionals speak powerfully and use their voice as a tool for leadership and impact. And one of the ways that we do that through coaching and group coaching programs, as well as through keynote programs and workshops, and sort of in 2 tracks, interestingly. One in the world of communications, very specifically developing a strong leadership voice for senior folks in their industries. And we are actually agnostic to industry. We work across technology, packaged foods, across the world. And the other track is around what the book is about, which is around how folks at any stage in their career, and at any level in their organization, can ask for more and get it, and ask strategically so that they can reach their goals faster.
Just talk to me for a moment about where do you start as a coach advisor? I mean, you've been doing 6,000 of these, but where do you start?
So it's funny. So the platform map is the framework that we use to help a leader name and claim and develop their leadership voice. And this isn't something I sort of made up, on my own, divorced from my experience with leaders. It's been an outcome of those 6,000 coaching sessions. And it's sort of the platform map is a 4-part framework that addresses what we have to get to the heart of in order to define someone's voice. And it was kind of like, it was an outcome. Literally, once I was working with one of my clients, and in that call, I remember it really crystallized for me that I was like, oh my gosh, look at these 4 parts that we just developed for you. This is like what I do with everybody. This is like your map for your voice. And it's also your platform. I think it's your platform map. And it was a bolt of lightning that hit me straight on the head that like, oh, this is what we've been doing this whole time. Now we have a framework for it. And I'll talk about those 4 components.
Okay.
But Steve, I want to talk about how I define mastery first.
All right, let's do it.
And when we do some communications, if we do some communications work with your Atticus community, we'll go a little deeper into this. But, when I think about when folks come to me or I work with a cohort, I'm like, what are we going for when you think about being masterful with your leadership voice? And it is never like perfection and polish. It's these 3 components. I define mastery as we know and you can speak from your heart, meaning what you're saying and how you're saying it is actually who you are. You're saying what you mean. Okay. So we get a sense of like, oh yeah, Steve's talking to me. That's so him. I can sense that he's present in what he's sharing with me and how he's sharing it. Okay. Number 1, speaking from the heart. Number 2, that you as a communicator are in control in the moment, not in control of the moment. You and I were chatting a minute ago before we hit record about, the experience being in a courtroom and that it never is exactly how you expect. Things change new data come into the story, and you have to respond in a flexible way. That is you being not in control of the moment, but in control in the moment as you respond authentically and with presence to what needs to happen right here, right now. And then the third component is impact, which is to say, are you actually having an impact on me? And so when I'm listening to leaders in their industry to help them use their voice as a strike point, that's what I'm listening for. Do I have a sense that you're actually showing up? Or do I have a sense that you're in control in the moment? And are you actually having an impact on me? And that is very rarely is that polish and perfection. It's not about that perfectly polished TED Talk. It's about those three components coming together that makes me go, even in all of this, even in the stumbling through something, even in the awkward moment, even in the let me rephrase that, I have a sense as your audience, again, across the boardroom or in a ballroom, that those three things are present. And then I know, that you are being masterful in front of me, in front of the room, in front of the audiences that matter. So that's what we're going for all the time. So
you're doing a great job. Now we still have the rest of the podcast, so don't blow it. I'm just telling you.
Thank you. So great. So the platform map, and it's funny that you say you use the word precise, because in order to get to something that feels precise, we got to get in the mess a little bit. And all my clients always start with going and when I describe what I'm about to describe, they're like, ooh, sounds hard. Let me just tell you, it is not. It is a joy and an exploration to name and claim your own leadership voice. And you're going to end up with a draft that is going to change and refine and get spikier in some places and softer in others. You have to kind of hold it loosely as you grow in your own leadership, as you grow in your own impact, as you deepen your understanding of the kind of impact you have on others with your leadership voice, and be open to it and being sort of like a living version of your platform map. So the platform map includes 4 components. Imagine you draw a north, south, east, west axis. So it's sort of like a compass.
Quadrants. Yeah. We got 4 quadrants.
Yeah, there you go. 4 quadrants, exactly. The top half is really about who you are. And the bottom half, the southeast and southwest half, is really about how you operate. Okay. So the top half, let's go to the top half. Top left, which is your northwest quadrant, is rooted in purpose. And in that, we develop a single purpose platform statement that articulates what kind of impact, sort of your purpose and your impact. And this is not a publishable document, by the way. This is you. This is for you. You think about a brand strategy document isn't publishable. It helps you inform and remind you who you are, right, as a brand. Similar with a platform map. So we identify a purpose platform statement. It has 2 components. I am, so that. And for folks listening and for folks who meet me later, if we do some leadership communications work around this with the Atticus community, I will be so happy to share what mine is, but not quite yet. Some examples from clients are things like, I have a client whose purpose platform statement is, I am a champion for mastery for the right good idea. And he and I use that. I have another whose purpose platform statement is, I am a volcano that creates landmass for others. We know what that means.
That's a lot of fun.
More importantly, the leader I work with knows what that means. So we can use that to inform, okay, is this a moment where you need to draw on your volcano-ness? Where in this script, where in this story, where in this moment does being a volcano serve and help clarify where you put that dramatic pause? What impact you actually want to have? So we use that when we're stuck as a resource to help us look at a particular communications moment from a stance that is aligned to that leader's truth. Okay. Purpose platform statement.
Perfect.
Now that the top right quadrant, which would be like the northeast quadrant, is what we call provenance, which is about your origin story as a strategic asset in your leadership. So people can understand why you. One of the things that's really important, and we'll actually have somebody on my podcast, Lead With Who You Are. I think we're recording it next week. It'll be up soon with Lisa Bragg, who's writing a book called Bragging Rights, who recognizes how important it is for us to, make our accomplishments known, right? And this is something that founders struggle with. Maybe some of your Atticus community too, as they grow their practices or need to expand their network to say, what have you done, right? And it's easy for us to want to, it's easy for us to feel awkward about our speaking to our accomplishments, to our origin story in a way that feels not awkward and weird, and a way that we sort of artificially want to dumb down. So the provenance story starts not with what have you done? The provenance story starts with your provenance. What is the origin of what you've done? Who you are? What are the key drivers? So for example, that's going to end up with two parts: who and what. Who I am, and then what I've done as evidence. So the bottom half of the platform map is about how you operate. And the southwest corner of your little quadrant there, or your southwest quadrant of your map, is about your point of view and playbook, which is to say, out of all the things, if you're going to lead in your industry, you're going to lead in your organization, what is it that you talk about? Like, get into a relationship, name and claim the thing it is that you talk about. And then there are three components beneath that, which is, great, what's your point of view on that thing you talk about? What is your transformation you're trying to cause in the domain around the thing you want to talk about? Transformation, lead. And then fourth is, what is the playbook for causing that transformation? And sometimes that means a leader will articulate a new topic they've never heard of. I had a client, he articulated one he called data elitism. We came up with that together in a cohort.
That's a very interesting term.
Yes, but isn't it intriguing? And so it's really a lane that he can own. For others, it's a one word thing like culture. Fine. It doesn't have to be fancy. It just has to be resonant and true. And then the bottom, and so we understand that as it's important for founders and leaders in the industry as well as in their organizations to name and claim this topic so they can kind of have their voice cut through the noise, so to speak, but also work as a plow to carve a path for the venture they're trying to create. So, for example, for those of you listening who may be lawyers in a particular, I don't know, in the space of human rights, maybe the world that you live in, of all the things you can talk about and do talk about, the lane you really want to say, this is what really matters to me, is human trafficking, maybe. Okay. And then you've got a point of view on human trafficking, and then you've got a transformation you're trying to cause in that space. Maybe your practice touches lots of different topics in and around that, but that's the one that you put your force behind and can work as a tool for you speaking to the world in a way that's aligned to who you actually are, and also what you are known for speaking about. I mean, think about all the founders in Silicon Valley. They might own large tech companies that do lots of different things, but they're known for one topic that they really care about.